So hi everyone, and welcome to our webinar on new ways of learning in the flow of work. I'm Diane Kubal, founder of Fulcrum Network. For those of you who aren't familiar with me and Fulcrum, there's really two main things that we do. One is we connect our clients with consultants who specialize in all things under the learning, organization development, human resources umbrella. And in addition to selling the services of the consultants in our network, we also have virtual experience-based programs. And we have our own content, and we also have the content of our consultants. And we've become experts in this area. We actually use the MyQuest platform, which is a very innovative, I kind of call it a learning experience platform. And so that's why we have Edan Kertis here with us of MyQuest, and he's going to be sharing part of the presentation today.
Thank you, Diane. I'm very happy to be here.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, Edan. So we'd like to find out why you're all here. And I want to do a quick poll. And for some reason, the poll isn't coming up. It says I'm logged in from another device. So let's just do this on chat. Tell us why you're here. Would you like to get educated on all the latest and greatest things in learning and development? You've heard of this learning in the flow of work, but maybe you want to learn a little bit more, go deeper. Perhaps you're someone who works inside an organization and you're looking for tools to help your employees do their jobs more effectively, or maybe you're an external consultant and you want to help your clients with creative solutions to help them get their work done. And if it's not one of those, then let us know in the chat if there's something else, some other thing that you're looking for. So let's see here. We've got some chats coming in here. Learning about the flow of work, education to bring to my clients, looking for creative solutions, learning best practices. Jim wants to know the latest trends. External, needing creative solutions. Yeah, so we've got a number of externals here, and so that's great, and some internal folks. All right, so here's our agenda for today. We're going to talk about what actually is learning in the flow of work and the evolution of learning and how we got to this place today. And then why it's important to both organizations as well as to employees. Will help you help your clients or your organization learn in this new way. And Edan is going to do a demonstration of how this can actually work. So we'll do a look at history here a little bit. And the learning and development field has been around for decades, and it's always been impacted by changes in technology as well as changes in the economy. And so if you look at this blue row here around the philosophy, we started out with in-person, the physical classroom training with a focus on instructional design. It moved to talent management using PCs for social and blended learning. Then we moved into continuous learning, on-demand, e-learning. And in the last 5 years or so, we've been focused on design thinking, on the learning experience, and digital learning, and moving into the flow of work. And so one of the things that you may have heard is this phrase called micro-learning, and this is something that we're using in this digital learning world. And one of the reasons is because research has shown that employees only have 24 minutes a week to learn. So they need help now in something. They need a short burst of content to solve a problem. Maybe it's an article, maybe it's a video. And so we're more focused on this micro learning, and the macro learning seems to not be as easy to do because people don't have as much time. And so I think these new ways of learning are coming about because maybe learning and development is kind of missing the mark. We're not really meeting the needs of the employees and the businesses to get them to achieve whatever the goals are. So that gets us to this learning in the flow of work. So whether you're familiar with it or not, go ahead and type in the chat, what do you think this learning in the flow of work means? Or what does it mean to you? So let's see what you think. If you don't know, take a guess. I know somebody said to me, oh, I thought this was like, being able to like call somebody like a help desk and, you get your answer, which wouldn't that be great, but probably very expensive. Being present, learning real time while working. Very good, Bruce. Learning on the job, but with a new twist. Yeah, I think that's right, Jim. And Andrea says learning while doing it, while it's happening, just in time learning, being fluid, and as I need while working. Great. So you guys, I think with all of these comments, learning in the moment, kind of are getting a bit at the essence of it. And this phrase was coined by Josh Burson. Some of you may know him. He's a well-known HR industry analyst. And he says, learning in the flow of work involves accessing quickly and easily an answer or some kind of short piece of content or learning content while you're working. So I think the new piece here is this quickly and easily, and that it's a short piece of content or an answer while you're actually on the job. So why do you think learning in the flow of work is important? Why is there so much interest in this right now? So go ahead and type that in the chat. We have just-in-time learning, on-the-job training. Yeah, you could say it's similar to that. Why do you think it's important? So learning when it's relevant is important. You have to be agile, absolutely. Everything is sped up and no one has any time. That's absolutely right. Those are the key things. There may be formal learning, but people will forget it and they don't use it right away. Yeah, that's right. If there's no application, that's the issue. Everything needs to be put in context so that they can apply it quickly. There's a push for productivity so that it's more efficient. Things are changing so quickly, so you need to be able to find and learn the answer like right away in the moment. Great. Well, there's been some studies done, and one of them by LinkedIn, and they asked 4,000 business leaders and learning and development professionals, what do they need to do to improve workplace learning? And the number one issue that they cited was that employees don't have time to learn. You guys nailed it. And so CEOs, 80% of them say that the need for new skills is really the number one challenge that they have right now. And on the other side of it, the employees, what they're looking for, the number one thing obviously is the nature of the work, doing something that they like, that they're good at. And second, they want development. So how are we able to give them what they're looking for? So here are some things that the study said that the learners are wanting. Over 2/3 of them want to learn while they're at work. They don't want to learn before hours or after. They want to do it while they are on the job. And 58% of them want to learn at their own pace. They want to decide, how often they're going to learn, that frequency, how much time they're going to spend. They really want control of their learning. And about half of them want to learn when they need it. They don't want to learn it before. And, if you learn it after, it may be too late, or there could be some negative impact there.
Yeah, by the way, Diane, this is a very critical point. Can you go one slide back?
Sorry.
To learn when you need something. I think one of the biggest challenge of learning and training programs inside of organization is to really make sure that employees have the motivation to complete those training. And there is nothing strong as internal motivation. Usually, organizations try to look at external motivation and how we can motivate employee to complete training. But internal motivation is the strongest way for us to actually learn something, because we really want to do it. And the fact that learning is really connected to people's day-to-day job, and learning, they need the learning in order to succeed in their job. This is when learning really transforms from something that I must do, or maybe I want to do, but I don't have the time because I really need to do my job, to something that actually helped me do my job in a better way and really allow me to provide better ROIs in my role. So this is a very important point.
Yeah, I think the completion rates with the online learning are kind of continually going lower and lower because employees don't have time. And to your point, the e-learning isn't very motivating for them. If you're just sitting there at a computer by yourself, not interacting with anyone, it's pretty hard to do. And I have to tell you, my husband, he's a teacher, and he has these, e-learning modules that he has to complete every year. It's kind of compliance stuff. And he said, oh yeah, I was sitting there watching a movie and I was completing my e-learning, just clicking the button, and that's what a lot of people unfortunately are doing. And then, of course there's a quiz, but he knows it because he's been through all of this year after year teaching for 20 something years. All right, well, thank you for that, Edan. So one of the things that you may be familiar with and have heard of is this best practice of the 70-20-10 rule. This is from the Center for Creative Leadership. And what I've done is flip this, and I call it the 10-20-70 rule, because most organizations are spending 70% of their time on what they should be doing, only 10%. And that's this formal learning. Most organizations are doing e-learning, they're doing live virtual training or in-person classroom training. And maybe one of the reasons is because people think that training is the solution. It's just sort of a natural thing when things aren't working. Learning through others, they should be spending 20%, learning from their peers, from their mentors, from coaches. And then learning on the job is where really the most impact happens, and that should be the 70%. So if we can deliver the learning using the right method, employees can better perform their jobs. So we'd like to know from you, where are you or your clients investing most of their time and energy? And my poll isn't working, so go ahead and just type this in the chat. Are you spending time in formal learning, learning through others, or on the job? And you can just put the 10, 20, or 70 in the chat there and let us know what you or your clients are doing. So learning from others. Brenda says, on the job, that's great. Thank you, Katrina. 70-10, Pam's clients, okay, very good. On the job training, so Andrea's clients are doing the 70. Rob, they're doing the 10, but they want the 70. Matt's organization, great, doing 70. So good, you guys are kind of a little bit all over the board, sort of at the two opposite ends, it seems, the formal and the on the job, not a lot through others. So here are some things that you can do now. This is even without any type of budget to do something externally, but lots of organizations have tools to share content internally. So maybe you have sales departments across different functions or business unit. Maybe you have an article on something on how to negotiate commercial contracts that are complex. It could be beneficial to another aspect of the organization. You can place learning in the inbox. The majority of knowledge workers are spending a good deal of time every day on email. So you can sprinkle in learning via email. And then the other thing about that is most executives, like 94% of executives, are getting their news via email. So it's something that could be sprinkled into the workday. And then lastly, you can make sure that your internal knowledge systems are up to date and useful to people. Maybe you have websites, maybe you have SharePoint sites, and you've got tons and tons of documents and files there. The employee goes and there's too much information and they can't sort through it and they can't find what they're looking for. Those need to be organized, tagged, searchable so that they can be useful. So if you're an internal, this is something you can do, or a suggestion you can make to your clients if you're external. And that brings us to what we're going to talk about today, and that is leveraging communication platforms to help facilitate this peer learning and this learning in the flow of work, the 20 and the 70. And you can use Microsoft Teams to connect employees to the answers and the content they need using a new tool developed by MyQuest, Edan and his team, and it's called MyQuest Connect. And so that brings us to Edan's portion here. And over the last year or so, MyQuest has been developing over the pandemic this new way of learning in the flow of work. So Edan, I'm going to stop sharing and turn it over to you.
Well, thank you very much, Diane. So hi, everyone. Maybe before I start, let me also introduce myself. So my name is Edan. I'm the CEO at MyQuest. I started the company 10 years ago, really with the goal to make learning effective for people. This was our goal and intention from day one. Our original product, which is not the product I will discuss today, is a learning and training platform mainly used by consultants and coaches who work with enterprises and organizations. And we really try.
It's great. Yeah.
Thank you, Diane. And we really try to focus there on how to create effective online and blended learning experience for employees. And we use lots of tactics like action-based learning and ability to provide coaching and community building as part of the training. And really in the last 10 years, what I'm doing is really trying to find more effective ways for people to learn. So this is, I think, my quest in my life right now, besides my baby. I have an 8 months old baby, so this is my new quest. But and as part of my work, I also created a learning model called the AFT learning model, which is what our platform is based on. If you want, by the way, to learn a bit about the model and about the platform, I can also put here on the chat the links and some more info, and then you can, at your free time, you can just go and read a bit about our work. Now, what I want to discuss today is really what we have done in the last year. Actually, it's been a bit more than a year since COVID started. And, you know, Diane mentioned the 70-20-10 model, and we realized that many companies, they're really focusing on the 10. It's very easy to know how to deliver formal training for employees, but it's not very easy to right now create on the flow, learning in the flow of work and how to go about this. So really, when we saw that people are so isolated after COVID started, we really took all of our experience from L&D in the last decade, in the last 10 years, and try to think how we can create a product that really taps into the learning and the flow of work and really connect people again, especially now where everyone is so isolated and people are working from home. And let me share my screen. I will walk you through our thought process of when creating this. And I would love also to show you a quick demo of what we've created. Obviously, if you have any question during the presentation, feel free to write it in the chat, and Diane will help me to moderate those questions. Can you see my screen? Can you see the presentation? MyQuest Connect?
Yes.
Okay. Cool. So really, let's talk a bit the problem that we are solving with learning in the flow of work. So the problem that we want to solve, and I think one of the biggest challenge of L&D professionals in the organization is how we can connect learning and training with ROIs, right? Management always come to us and say, so what is the real ROI of the training? How much money it actually saves us? And we also wanted to tap into this challenge. So the problem and the challenge we want to solve with learning in the flow of work is the knowledge and skill gaps problem in organizations. So today, employees are spending almost 2 hours every day searching for information they need to have in order to do their job more effectively. So, and actually this problem, this is a report by McKinsey from 2019. Now with COVID and the pace just go faster and faster, this problem is actually much more significant today. And we're talking about 20% of employee time, which is being spent because of all the knowledge gap and the skill gaps that employees have, and really trying to get the right information that will help them to close those skill gaps. So what we have realized, we thought, how can we solve this, right? So obviously we're living in a very dynamic environment where things changes all the time. So if we create, I think the more traditional solution where let's create a library, a content library, and then people can access this library. You can see many LXP platform try to create this kind of Netflix experience for people. But the problem with this approach, first, it's not always easy to find the right piece of content for what they do. It's not accessible enough. And B, also things changed so fast. So you can record a video, you can do some content, a few months after it can be irrelevant. And we want something which is much more dynamic than this. So what we have realized is that the knowledge is already out there in the organization. For any challenge or question employee might have, 99% of the times, there is another employee in the organization who is able to help with this challenge. So the knowledge is already in the organization, and what we want to do, we want to make sure we can create an effective flow of knowledge in the organization in order to help people close those gaps. And this is exactly what how we define learning in the flow of work. So learning in the flow of work, we want to provide people the right piece of information in the right time. And by really creating this kind of flow of information in the organization, this is really the goal we want to achieve. Now, let's talk a bit how we do this. So what we have done, we created a partnership with Microsoft. We realized that if we want to utilize the power of the employees and the people to do this, we need to use existing collaboration tool. We don't want to educate people to learn a new tool. So we created, right now we're working with Microsoft Teams. Later on this year, we'll add more collaboration tools like WebEx or Slack. But what we have done, we created an app, Microsoft Teams, that whenever an employee has a question or a challenge, they can just send it to the app in Microsoft Teams. Then we're using machine learning and AI to identify who is the right expert in the organization who can help with this specific challenge. Once we find an expert who can help with this challenge, we reach out to this expert. Let's say that we identified 3 experts who can help. We'll reach out to one of them, see if this person is available. If he is not available, we'll reach out to the next person. Once we find an expert who is available, we'll connect these 2 individuals together through Microsoft Teams. So now they can chat via the video or via the chat in Teams and solve this challenge. Now, obviously, this allows us to create very robust reports for L&D managers and managers in general about how much time did we save employee by connecting them together, because we connect employee together about specific work challenge they have. We can also showcase what are the skill gaps employee have around each skill. So we can see a list of all the questions around sales. Now you know what do you want to do in your next sales training, because you can see what is the skill gap. And another thing that you can see is also who are the experts in the organization who help to close those gaps. And we're creating a map of all the skills of all the employees in the organization. Now, another important aspect of the solution is that people don't need to ask the same question more than once. So when someone is asking a question, and let's say I ask a question and Diane came and helped me, after we had our short session of solving this together, we can add the solution to the system. So eventually we're creating an organic Q&A, FAQ in a way, for the organization. So next time when someone else will ask a similar question, we would automatically be able to show them, here are the questions, similar questions people asked in the past, and here are the solutions for those questions. Is it helpful for you? And then if this is helpful, we don't even need to connect the employee with another person, because we already have this knowledge base in the organization. So without further ado, let me show you a quick demo how the solution works. And I'm sure that after this, it will be more clear. And if you have some more questions, feel free to write those in the chat, and I'll be happy to address those after the demo, okay? So let's open Microsoft Teams. So it works in Teams. So let me close all these windows and open Microsoft Teams. Okay. Can you see my Microsoft Teams account? great.
Yes.
So here I have 3 different accounts that are open. Here on the left, I have the account of Mike. What we're trying to do is simulate 3 different people in the organization. So next to Mike, we have Sydney. And next to Sydney, the third account that we'll use, it should be Jonathan, but let's see that if it's actually Jonathan, because sometimes there is some session issues and okay, it's Jonathan, okay? So we have 3 different people in the organization. Let's say that I'm Mike. You see here on the left, I have the connect bot. So the bot is always available to me. And whenever I face a question or a challenge during my work or during my training, I can just click on the bot and say, hey. I reach out to the bot, I say hi. Then the bot will reply back to me. Hey, Mike, I'm here to help. Do you have any question or need assistance with anything? So now I can just say that I do have some question. And now the bot will reply back, I'm here to help. Tell me more so I can find you the right person to assist you. So now I can write my question. It can be a question about anything. So for example, let's say that I have a question about, I'm trying to log in into, let's say, Zoom. How can I do this? So this is more like a support question, but you can ask question about any kind of topic that you want. And then you can choose category or subcategory for your question. So every organization can build their own categories and subcategories. So let's say my question is about communication, and now I can just submit my question. When I'm submitting my question, the bot tells me I'm on it. I will connect you with someone who can help with your question. This is my question, stay tuned. Now what the bot is doing, we're going and trying to find who is the right person in the organization who can help with this specific question. And what we found that Sydney is actually a good candidate to help. So let's see what Sydney got. Sydney got the following message. Can you help a colleague? Hey, Sydney, are you able to help one of your colleagues with the following question? Now Sydney can see the question. And now she can say whether she's happy to help right now. Maybe she's busy and she can help later. Or maybe it's not the right question for her. Let's say that Sydney is busy and she cannot help right now. What we'll do, we'll say thank you. I might try you again in the future. Now we're going to find another expert who can help with this specific question. So the bot is doing all the work for me. I don't need to look for the right person who can help me. The bot actually identifies all the experts who can help with this specific question and start reaching out to them one by one to see who is available. So right now, Jonathan just got this message, can you help a colleague? So if Jonathan is able to help me, so what we're going to do, we're going to say to Jonathan, great, thank you for your help. Click the button below to connect directly with Mike so the two of you can speak to each other. So now I can just click this button. What it actually does, it creates a chat, direct chat between Jonathan and Mike. We're preparing the message for Jonathan to say to Mike, hi Mike, I received your question, I'm here to help. Now Jonathan can just send the question to Mike and now they can start having a chat and solve this in Teams. So think about this when we think about learning and the flow of work. So right now I'm working, I have a challenge, I have a question. I just send it to the bot and the bot find me the right person who can help me. A few minutes later, someone else reach out to me and say, hey, I'm here to help. So really from the employee perspective, they don't need to do anything. They just send it to the bot and we're starting to create these connections in the organization. And if you're looking at the 70, 20, and 10, we really taps into the 70 and the 20, right? We're creating a social learning in the flow of work that really help people with real-time challenges that they're facing. Now, another important thing to mention is that we want to make sure that employee got the help they needed. So in this demo, it happened after 1 minute. In real environment, it will happen after a few hours. We reach out again to Mike and ask him if he got the help he needed. And we want to make sure that Jonathan actually helped him. Now, if Mike still needs help with this, then we can connect with another expert. But if Mike got the help he needed, what we're going to do we're going to ask Mike to submit what was the solution for this challenge. So this was the solution. And also how much time did it save him? Let's say it saved me 1 hour or maybe 40 minutes, I don't know. And when I'm submitting this, next time when someone else will ask a similar question, we can automatically suggest this person the previous solutions that people have for similar questions. So this is really not just about connecting people together, it's also about creating this knowledge repository that really allow people to get an answer without even need to speak with anyone. So this was a quick demo from the learner perspective, I would say, employee perspective. What I want to show you right now is a quick overview on the admin, because I think we have some really important analytics that you can use that can really help you improve the L&D and the training in the organization. So can you see the admin in my computer right now? Great. So this is the admin that showcase my demo environment. So all the data here is not real, but it will give you a good understanding of what you can see. So first, you can see how many questions people asked, how many questions were answered successfully, success rate, how much time did we save employees across the organization. So if we're talking about ROIs, you can come to managers in the organization after, let's say, 2 months of using the tool and show them, here we save like 2 years of work across the entire employee in the organization. Now, you can also see different, what kind of subjects people ask about the question. So here in the demo, I have only 3 tags: communication, teamwork, and applying technical expertise. But in real environment, you'll have like tens or hundreds of different tags that you can see, and you can see where are the real knowledge gaps that people have in the organization. Now, you can obviously also see how many questions people ask every day. Now, let's say that you're responsible for sales, and now you want to see what are the skill gaps that people have around sales. So on that question dashboard, you can see all different questions that people ask. What was the answer for these questions? And you can also filter it by a category or tag. So you can choose sales, and then you can see all different questions that people asked about sales. So this really gives you a good visibility on what are the actual skill gaps people have in the organization. Now, another important dashboard that you have with the tool is the experts dashboard. So you can see all the experts that you have in the organization. You can see their response rate, how much time it took them to respond, what are the skills of all the people in the organization. Like you have 2 people who are expert in communication and 1 who is expert in sales. Obviously, in large organization, it will be in the thousands, right? You can see also a list of all the experts in the organization, what are their skills, how many connections we made to them, and what was their answer rate and the success rate. So this can give you a very good visibility on actually what is the skill gaps employees have in the organization. And one of the things that we're developing right now is actually the ability to really go to the tool, put some skills or some tags, and then we can showcase who are the people or have the most expertise around these tags. So we're really creating this whole skill mapping of employee in the organization, and the AI algorithms keeps updating the skill mapping all the time. So let me stop real quick the presentation here. I have some more slides about how we do the skill mapping and about the benefits of the tool, but I want to stop here real quick just for a few questions to make sure that the demo was clear, and then we can continue with the presentation.
So thanks, Edan. Yeah, we do have some questions. First one is, what is the data the AI uses to suggest? Does it account for people's availability, and does it integrate with Outlook? Yeah, so you mean like how do we find the right expert in the organization?
This is the question? Okay.
Yes, he's not.
So when people download the app, the first thing that they'll do, they will add anywhere between 3 to 10 or 20 different skills they believe they can help other people. This allows us to create a very initial mapping of skills of employees in the organization. Now, when people are using the bot, we are able to know if they were able to answer a question about specific skills or not. So the bot keeps updating the score per employee per skill, and we're able to add skills and remove skills to employees based on their activity with the bot. So it only takes from employee like 3 to 5 minute onboarding process, and then all the skill updating and mapping happen automatically.
Great, thank you. And is there a date associated with the answer? Like what if it changes over time?
Yeah, so we can, when we show the answers, we can show when this answer was given. Companies have the ability to outdate a specific answer after a certain amount of time. Now, we can also learn it automatically because let's say that you ask a question and now we suggest you, okay, here is a solution for your question because we had it in the past. Now, let's say that you tell me, okay, this is not really a good solution. And we hear it again and again, then we learn that this solution might be outdated and the score of this solution goes down and next time we won't show it. Now, if this solution is not good for you, we'll connect you with another person and probably this person will give you an updated solution. So the system keeps organically add new solutions to the system to make sure we always have up-to-date info in the system.
Another question, does this only work on Microsoft Teams? Is there any Google Workplace support?
So at the moment, it works only on Teams. I think by the end of the year, we'll add it to more tools and collaboration tools. This is a new product, so we had to start somewhere. So we started with Teams, but eventually we want to add it to any collaboration tool.
Great. Another question, how long does it take employees to input original data to get started?
2 to 3 minutes. You just need to put some tags and check some boxes. It's very easy.
Okay.
Okay.
And
go ahead.
one more. Do we back out the time spent by respondents opting out or answering?
So we're asking the person who got the help how much time we saved him. So obviously it's not super accurate. It's like their estimation. Like I think they saved me right now 2 hours or a day of work. But because we use, I think, the wisdom of the crowd, when you have this kind of question like thousands of times, eventually you get something which is accurate. And it gives you a rough estimation of what is the real ROI of the tool, besides just of closing the skill gap, but actually how much time did you save employee. Okay, let's continue with the presentation. Okay, so let me share my screen again. You can see my screen, right? Okay, so let's go back to the slides. I already answered this question. This is how we do the matchmaking. So when employee download the app, they can just add few skills that they have to the app. Then based on the employee scores and availability and workload, we decide who is the best person to answer each question. And then based on people answer, we'll keep refining and update the score per skill per employee. And we're able to add or remove skills for employees following their activity with the bot. Now, let's talk a bit about the benefits of the tool and why we've built it. So as I mentioned before, we're coming from the L&D space. And we really wanted to first create a learning ecosystem. It's not just about, having another training program. Here, what we do, we're creating an ecosystem in the organization where knowledge can flow in a free way, and also we remove all boundaries and limits of knowledge flow. So with this tool, actually what the way we transform the organization into an organization that actually learn. And the knowledge keeps flowing between different employees. And the knowledge also keep being updated in the FAQ section. So this was really important for us. Instead of creating a solution which you, like a training program that you always need to maintain and build another training and another training, here we're creating a solution that is self-maintenance, like it's keep maintaining itself. Now, another important element of the solution is the ability to improve productivity and show our ROI. Eventually, we want to close skill gaps where it really matters the most, and this is on the job, and we feel that this is a very important aspect of the tool. Another side effect of the tool, it actually really creates a strength relationship between employees, because it creates a very positive experiences for employees, because it connects them around helping each other. Now, think how it happened today. Today, I might go to my colleague and tell my colleague, I need help with this, and maybe my colleague is busy, and now he needs to tell me, listen, I'm busy, come back later, or maybe I reach out to the wrong colleague. Here, the bots do this all for you. We find the right person. You don't need to go and find, especially in big organizations, you don't really know who is the person who can help you. And it also gives people the opportunity to speak with people from different regions, different departments, people they never met before. So eventually what really creates, I think, make people feel connected to the organization is the people. And here we're starting to create lots of connections in the organization that you weren't able to do without the tool. So this is, and a few other points is obviously close the skill gaps, find also what are the skill gaps with the analytics, and also democratize knowledge and flatten the organization. So these are some of the benefits and also things we had in mind when we created this solution. Let's talk a bit about use cases for the tool. So obviously, when you full scale the tool, it can be used by any employee in the organization to answer any question. But usually you don't start with the entire organization, you start with specific scenario, and then you scale it from there. So let's talk a bit about some common use cases. So obviously, one thing is professional support. It can be salespeople who wants to close a deal right now and they have a question about the product, or they're facing objection from a customer. You can connect them with a product expert or with a sales expert. It can be customer success people or support people. Now they're not sure how to handle a specific case. We can connect them with more experienced colleague. It can be developers, R&D. I have a question about a specific technology. I have a question about specific code. We'll find you the right person who can help you. And so these are just some example of, and another example that we have right now is technicians and people who work remotely. Right now I'm in sometimes it's even physicians. We have another customer, they have physicians, they go to the customer, they're alone, they have no one to consult with. Now they have some sort of questions they're not sure about, they ask the bot, 2 minutes later someone else reach out to them and say, hey, I'm here to help. Now another common use case is help desk support. So for example, one of the things that we're doing right now with Walmart is we're creating really communities around each tool that they're using. Who are the pros for Microsoft Teams? Who are the pros for Excel? Someone has a question about Excel, we'll find you another colleagues who can help you. You have a question about Teams, we'll find you a team expert who can help you. And not just that we close the skill gaps, we're also able to reduce some of the workload of the help desk. Another very popular scenario is onboarding. This is very natural. You have a new employee in the organization. This employee knows anyone. He doesn't know anyone. He has so many skill gaps. Now with the tool, he can ask questions. We can connect him with different people in the organization. And it's a great orientation tool. And the last piece, but not less important, is learning and training. Really, what this tool allows you is to create peer learning in your training program. So we can integrate with LMSs. Obviously, it's integrated with our learning and training platform. And when someone is taking a training, they have a question about the training, we can connect them with another peer in the organization taking the same training so they can start helping each other, or you can predefine a group of coaches for this training, so we can connect you with a coach or subject matter expert who can help you with the training. It's also a great tool for post-training. So someone, let's say that you had right now a training, you train like 200 people, and now they completed the training. They go and start doing the job. Now with this tool, we can have a support network for these people to really ask questions and get help from colleagues of subject matter expert. And also as L&D expert, it gives you visibility. What are the skill gaps people have 2 months or 5 months or 1 year after the training ends. So this is some, for example, for learning and training, we're working with the World Health Organization at the moment. They're launching it for 2,000 people for their training. So this is also a very common use case. Diane, I'll hand it back to you.
Yeah, so thank you, Edan. We do have some more questions. So someone wanted to know, Pam, when an employee leaves the organization, what happens to their skill info? Does it get deleted?
Yes.
Okay. And is there a discount for nonprofits for this?
We always give discounts to nonprofits. We're always happy to support nonprofits.
Oh, wonderful. And Rob had a concern about safety, vulnerability, saying that humility is required. And he thinks that maybe executives would mind that to justify criticism and downgrading evaluation. So
actually, it's a great point, and thank you for raising this up because I didn't cover it. So we want to keep people privacy. So when someone asks a question, the only person who knows who asked the question is the person who actually helped this person. So when we reach out to people, we don't reveal the name. We say, one of your colleagues has the following question, do you think you can help? And only if you think you can help and we make this connection, you know actually who is the person who asked the question. Now, from the analytics perspective, when you see the list of all the questions, we don't show who is the person who asked the question because we want to keep people privacy. So you can see, let's say that in the sales department, these are the questions that people ask, these are the skill gaps that you have, but you don't necessarily know as a manager that this is the specific question that this person asked because we want to keep people's privacy.
Great, thank you. So I have a question about employees being asked to be, you know, the go-to person. How are they feeling about that? Do they feel like, oh, I'm going to get bombarded, or is this some kind of recognition or other reactions?
Yeah, so first, it gives employee the ability to showcase their expertise and get recognition for this. So today, there are many people who, you know, by their nature, they love helping others. But right now, there is no visibility on their help and they don't get recognition for this. So obviously, not 100% of the employees will be happy to give help. Some people, by their nature, they don't love to help others. But a good portion of employees, they love to help others. They want to showcase their expertise in their field. And this gives them the ability to actually show it. And it's actually a great opportunities for employees to do that.
Great. And as you mentioned, there isn't any visibility into exactly who, but they are designated as that person. So that's how the recognition comes, not because they've given great answers per se, right?
Yeah, so there is no visibility on the side of the person who asked the question. So you can ask question, like we want people to feel open and not vulnerable to ask questions. From the expert side, we can showcase managers, okay, this person is really expert in this, this, and this. So we actually encourage people to excel with the tool because then managers can see all the help they gave to their colleagues.
Yeah, and Rob has an interesting comment. He's saying that he would put a recognition program on top of it. You know, the number of, I guess, most helpful answers, get some sort of, you
Mhm.
know, I don't know if it's a badge or a day off or, you know, some kind of recognition, so that it's not about their answers, but how much they're helping other people. Is that
Yes,
what you're saying?
and many organizations are doing it. It's a great
Yeah,
idea.
that's great. And so, how do organizations go about identifying the people that are designated to be the experts in certain areas? And then, you know, is there also the, well, how come I wasn't, you know, asked to do that? You know, the opposite.
So actually, it's happened organically. So first, if you run a pilot, usually they will just choose a group of people to do this. But later on, once you scale the solution, every person can put their own skills. And then the bot starts asking the question. We try to balance the question, not to bombard one person, even though it might be the most skilled person. And then we start learning as we go what are the real skills that each employee has.
So every employee then eventually, if you're going to roll this out, would have their skills in and what they are able to answer questions about.
It's up to the organization, but ideally, yes. Some organization wants to limit it. They want only to have a designated group of people to answer about each topic. Usually these are more formal organizations. Some organizations that have a much more flattened hierarchy, they see the opportunity that every person can help with anything with their expertise. So really, I think this is when you see much more value with the tool, but also the first scenario is great.
Yeah, so Pam was asking, in a large organization, could employees feel bombarded with too many questions?
Actually, this is one of the problems that we're solving with the tool, because today, usually you have those subject matter experts that everyone knows, and everyone bombarding them with the questions. Now, what the tool does, it actually, first, we balance the question. So if we see we just sent you a question, we won't send you another question, we'll find another person who can help. So first, we create a balance. And and second, it's important to say that we can also give you the recognition for helping people. So not just that we balance it, now the managers can see that how many people you actually help, and you can actually be more to be more rewarded for this.
Great, thank you. Well, I appreciate everyone's questions. We do have a little bit more time if anyone wants to ask any additional questions. And we also do have, how many questions do you get on a day?
What, from like by
Like,
person or?
yeah, I think, yeah. Pam, you want to unmute and explain? Here.
Yeah, there I go. Yeah, yeah. It's then how many questions? Like if I'm an employee and I've got email coming in, you know, got all kinds of stuff that I'm working on. How many questions am I going to be bombarded with?
You're not going to get bombarded. Usually it's a question every few days. It really depends on the organizations. So if an organization have, let's say, 1,000 people that has question about one specific topic, and they put only 1 or 2 people around this topic, you're going to get bombarded, yes. But usually what happens is that for every type of skill, you have multiple people who can answer this skill, and sometimes you don't need the best expert to answer a question. Sometimes you can have like someone who just started, but is qualified enough to answer this question. So what we actually do, we're actually able to moderate those questions and able to make sure you're not bombarded. Usually you'll get the questions, one question every few days, but it really depends on the organization and how many people you have on this side of the people who wants to ask question about this specific skill, and how many people are able to answer this skill in the organization.
What's the size of, what's the target size of an organization that we should be looking at for this? I mean, if a nonprofit has 20 people, is that too small? if an organization has 100 people, is that the right size? Yeah, what are we looking at?
So 20 people, I think it's too small because you can just, you know everyone, you can just reach out, you don't need a bot. I think the minimum is in the ranges of 100 and 200 people, between 100 to 200 people when it starts getting effective. Then as bigger the organization is, the value the organization will see is bigger because it's much more difficult to know everyone and map all the skills of organization of, you know, 10,000 people versus organization of 200 people. So
could you share pricing with us and give us an idea of what we're looking at?
yeah, so there is a setup cost. Usually it's in the ranges of around 4,000 to 5,000 US dollar, depends on the size of the organization. And then the price is price per user per year. And it also ranges between $20 to $40. Again, depends on the size of the organization. And this is price per user per year. And a user is an employee who uses the bot.
Right. Okay. So $4,000 to $5,000 to set it up, and
Yes.
then $20 to $40 per employee per year.
Exactly.
Okay. Got it.
And we can give, for nonprofit, we can give 50% discount.
Okay.
Oh, wow. That's a lot.
Listen, we want to support nonprofits. I think it's important.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's great.
Got it. Got it. Okay.
Yes.
So Rob had another question about, you know, what can the answers be? Are they text, referrals, referral links, audio recordings, video? Like what can be placed in the responses in Microsoft Teams?
Yeah. So let's have two different. One, when I speak with a person and this person helped me, it can send me everything through Teams. It can send me, you know, we can have actually, maybe it doesn't send me anything. We can just have a video chat and solve it together. So through Teams, you can send everything. Then when we ask the person what was the solution, right now it's a textual box where you can add links. Later on, we're planning to add ability to add videos and audio and other stuff, but more or documents. But usually most of the questions, you can just put a link to the document and usually it's enough. But we're improving this area as well.
All right, well, thank you so much, everyone, for attending and for all of your questions. And if you'd like to learn more, there's an ebook that you can access. The link is here in the chat. It's also, I think, on the MyQuest website. And if you would like to learn more and schedule a call, you know, get a quote or something, there is a calendar link right here, or just reach out to me. You can email me and tell me what you like, and we can send it to you as well.
Yeah, and Diane will send you both of these links in the follow-up email after this webinar, so you can have it in the email.
Absolutely. Yeah. So this is great. Well, thank you so much, Edan. This has been
welcome.
Really informative and enlightening to hear about such a cool product. And again, we'll be following up with an email with those links if you'd like to learn more. All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Bye. Cheers.
Bye.